नमस्कार, मेरा नाम है राजीव कुमार बजाज यानी आरकेबी और मैं हूं इस वक्त एडवोकेट प्रदीप नंबियार जी के साथ। प्रदीप जी नमस्कार।
नमस्कार सर, नमस्कार।
आप सब लोगों को नेशन नाउ की तरफ से जय हिंद, जय महाराष्ट्र, जय भवानी, जय शिवाजी, वंदे मातरम।
वंदे मातरम।
जय सिया राम, हर हर महादेव।
हर हर महादेव।
और उसके अलावा गुड इवनिंग, सत श्री अकाल, अस्सलाम वालेकुम, shalom, and what is that, Pradeep ji? Ni hao. That's in Chinese.
I know about the African language.
That's right.
Swahili. Amariako, Jambobana.
Fantastic, absolutely fantastic. There we go. So we've got most of the world covered. And so the electoral bonds, the whatever information has been released, the Supreme Court's not happy with it. They've asked the State Bank of India to reveal whatever they had asked for, including what the alphabetic numeric code or something like that, or whatever there is on the bond, that also needs to be revealed. That's what the Supreme Court says, and in all likelihood they'll probably do it on Monday, I think.
They have to. I mean, आप कब तक छुपा? If the Supreme Court is strict, if the Supreme Court wants to enforce the law, and it shows right center that we want to enforce the law, I mean, there's very little where any institution can do. Nothing to protect the guilty.
But
you can't protect the guilty at all. And here, what is the question of guilt? There's no element of guilt. All you do is produce the records.
Number one, and why should the State Bank of India try to do that? That's it. Because after all, what are they doing? They are just the platform or the banking institution which was designated for these electoral bonds. They've got nothing to do with it. And if there is any wrongdoing, etc., that will be found by the court. That's it. और क्या होने वाला है उसमें? और प्रदीप जी, और अभी जो कांग्रेस के लोग बड़े उछल रहे हैं, बाकी सब लोग वो कर रहे हैं कि भाई ये हो गया वो हो गया, मुझे नहीं लगता कि इससे कोई खास फर्क पड़ने वाला है. Very frankly speaking, I don't think.
But the allegations of the Congress, quid pro quo, hafta wasuli, kickbacks, money laundering through shell companies. Now, if they can justify all these things, still I don't know how does it affect a common man, but
they'll have to prove it, Pradeep ji. Prove करना पड़ेगा ना.
Yes.
Prove करना पड़ेगा ना. और अभी, of course, K. Kavita, the daughter of KCR, has just been picked up by the Enforcement Directorate from her house in Hyderabad, and she's being taken to Delhi. Or so the news says. The only thing is, do they? I don't think they have a transit warrant. Do they have a transit warrant? I don't think so. So possibly
will come ready, prepared. I think with this government in power,
yes,
they prepare for every minute thing so well. I mean, there's rarely some, you can say, failure.
Except the BRS, her brother KTR says that the case was there in the Supreme Court today, where the Directorate of Enforcement, at least their lawyers had said that there would be no precipitate action against K. Kavita, and they've picked her up. Now, I don't know if that is exactly what transpired in court. We don't know that. But that's what they're saying. So, things are going to get very, very interesting. And this, by the way, is about the liquor scam. जो शराब का तथाकथित तौर पे जो घोटाला हुआ है दिल्ली में, जिसमें आम आदमी पार्टी के कई लोग जो हैं वो जेल में हैं, जैसे मनीष सिसोदिया साहब हैं, अपने जनाब संजय सिंह साहब जो हैं वो भी जेल में हैं. तो अगर कविता जी जो हैं, के कविता जो हैं, अगर उनको भी गिरफ्तार कर लिया जाता है तो ये तीसरी शख्सियत होगी, पॉलिटिकल शख्सियत, जो कि जेल में होगी तथाकथित शराब घोटाले को लेकर के. So,
and I don't think you'll get sympathy out of all these things, because this is not affecting the poor at all.
No.
This is the rich and mighty in taking on the government, or the government taking on the rich and mighty, where huge amount of money has transferred hands, and which you can easily say are proceeds of crime right now. And it's not a small amount of money that you're talking about.
अरे प्रदीप जी, के कविता के केस में कोई 100 करोड़ की बात कर रहा है.
Yes.
जो इलेक्ट्रल बॉन्ड्स वाला जो मैटर है उसमें कोई 1000 करोड़, कोई 1500 करोड़. अरे यार, ये कितने पैसे होते हैं, कितने जीरो होते हैं उसमें, वो मतलब दिमाग के बाहर है.
गरीब से गरीब आदमी सिर्फ ये देख रहे हैं कि कितने 1000 करोड़ जा रहे हैं, इतने ये करोड़ जा रहा है.
कि 1000 करोड़ क्या होता है भाई?
और 1000 से कम तो कोई नेता का केस ही नहीं बन रहा है.
नहीं, कोई केस ही नहीं बन रहा साहब. अगर आपके खिलाफ 1000 करोड़ से कम का आरोप है तो आप नेता नहीं है. कहने का मतलब ये हुआ. Another one with us, our very old friend and the one man that we really admire, really and truly, for the yeoman service that he has rendered to this city and to the whole of Maharashtra and the country is our friend Advocate Godfrey Pimenta of the Watchdog Foundation. Godfrey Saab, namaskar.
Namaskar, sir. Namaskar.
How are you, sir? How are you? How are you?
Well, sir.
Arey, what a lovely shirt you're wearing, Godfrey Saab. That's a lovely shirt. Wow. Really and truly wonderful. सर ये रेडी मिक्स कंक्रीट प्लांट जो हैं जो जिनके बारे में आप जिक्र कर रहे हैं ये क्या है मतलब व्हाई शुड दे मेक इट राइट नेक्स्ट टू द नवघर यू नो रिजर्व फॉरेस्ट व्हाट इज गोइंग ऑन हियर
No, sir. Now there is a complete breakdown of the government machinery, enforcement machinery is concerned. Now you see this wherever the RMC plant are, what you call erected, there is something called the sitting criteria prescribed by the Maharashtra Pollution Control Board, and this policy is applicable all over Maharashtra. One of the sitting criteria is that the RMC plant cannot be erected within a vicinity of human habitation, say 100 meters from the RMC plant. Now this particular criteria has been violated with impunity. I was able to take a morcha maybe about 3 to 4 months back at MPCB office at Sion and managed to close down after putting up a spirited fight, and the RMC plant was shut. Now there have been complaints of the Ahmedabad, Mumbai-Ahmedabad National Highway getting flooded once you cross this Warsaw bridge, over the Vasai Creek. Now averting this, there are a number of at least 8 to 10 RMC plants which have come up, and they are polluting, and this is just bank opposite the reserve forest, sir. Now the thing is the dust which emanates, there are whenever you construct a RMC plant, there are several conditions imposed by the Maharashtra Pollution Control Board that you have to have a proper boundary erected with at least 25 feet high tin sheet wall. Now this walls are missing in all of this RMC plant. That is number one. Number two, that there should be proper tree plantation around the vicinity of this RMC plant, which is condition number 2 is missing. Third condition is, sir, there has to be sprinkler, because the dust which really emits from this RMC plant is periodically required to be washed with the water so that it doesn't spread. Then the vehicles which leave this RMC plant are required to be, there has to be, their tire needs to be cleaned, washed regularly with water. Again, that thing is absent. So the thing is, that entire area is thickly populated with forest, and if this cement dust settles on this plant, it will die over a period of time. So there is absolutely no regulation. These people are operating without fear of law, and therefore we have sent a representation to right from the Chief Minister, the Chief Secretary, the Principal Secretary Environment, Central Pollution Control Board, both at head office as well as the Pune Regional Office and Maharashtra Pollution Control Board. So we are demanding strict enforcement of this sitting criteria guidelines prescribed by the Pollution Control Board way back in 2016.
Now, but the only thing is that once again for our viewers, RMC plant is a ready mix concrete plant. आजकल क्या हो गया है कि ये पूरी रेडी मिक्स जो है ये प्लांट से निकल करके सीधी बिल्डिंग साइट पर जाती है और एकदम फटाफट उसको इस्तेमाल कर लेते हैं, जिसमें बजरी होती है, रॉक होता है, सीमेंट होता है, रेत होती है, सब मिक्स हो जाता है कि आपको वहाँ पे मिक्स करने की ज़रूरत ना पड़े. But the only thing is that the kind of pollution that it creates is horrid. You get respiratory diseases, people's lungs are affected, you get emphysema, all the flora and fauna all around is affected, animals die, plants die. Don't they know all this, Godfrey Saab?
Sir, already there are 2 public interest litigation which are pending in the Bombay High Court. There has been a committee formed headed by none other than municipal commissioner and other bureaucrats. This committee is the interim measure to issue guidelines, but sadly to say that this committee is only on the paper. They are not doing any strictly enforcing the air pollution measures to control the air pollution. The High Court has taken a very, very strict view. The matter is again coming up for hearing maybe this end of this month, and I think so something will come out of it, because enough is enough. The officers have to be held accountable for their serious lapse on their parts.
Godfrey ji, we are witnessing the same thing where Mumbai is concerned. The biggest pollution is at Bandra Kurla complex, because the entire Bandra Kurla complex is totally under full time. You got the bullet train coming out there, you got the metro lines being built out there, and you got the RCM, the same ready mix cement one plant just outside Motilal Nehru Nagar in BKC. Now that is, I don't think that the 3 or 4 conditions that you put, the water sprinkler, it has to be washed, anything of this being incorporated out there. The people staying in Motilal Nehru Nagar, BKC, close that part of the windows at all 365 days, 24/7, so that this cement doesn't come, because the whole building is filled with that, the smoke and ash coming out from the cement RCM mixer. Now, this is a big hazard. I mean, you're talking about human inhabitation. This is absolutely in the center of this entire human habitation. You got one side, you got the corporate offices, on this second side, you got the residential SRA premises out there. There are 4 to 5 or 10, 15 buildings out there. Now you got the RCM there. Now this is an hazard. People are suffering. People are suffering. Last time we didn't do a program. Now, can you repeat the conditions? Because we will also let the people know that these are your rights.
No, firstly, sir, there has to be no human habitation within a periphery of 100 meters from the RMC plant. That is condition number 1. They need to erect at least minimum 25 feet high tin sheet wall around the periphery of the RMC plant. Number 2. Number 3, there has to be enough vegetation or the tree lining around the RMC plant. That is condition number 3. Condition, there has to be regular swing of water over the dust and dust particles, and washing of tires. So these are the some of the 4 major conditions for operating. Now there are 2 types of RMC plants, sir. One is called for captive consumption. That means the RMC plant has to generate produce the ready-mix concrete, and the same has to be utilized at the same premises where the construction is going on. That is called captive RMC plant.
Yes.
The other one is the commercial plant. Now the commercial plant has to observe washing of tires, because the trucks will be leaving the RMC plant premises and transporting the concrete to distance. So there has to be washing of tires for such kind of vehicles which are entering and exiting the RMC plant.
So now the remedy lies with the MPCB or with the CM's office. Where did the remedy lies? Because you have complained, you have gone to the court. We got the same problem out in BKC, Motilal Nehru Nagar, residential area. You got the RMC plant out there, and no tires are being washed. The entire road is filled with cement.
Sir, the government has to come out with a concrete policy. Recently, the government has made a mega announcement regarding construction grant of FSI up to 7 for projects falling within the buffer zone of metro station. So there is going to be increased activity in the vicinity of various metros which are running through the city. Now this will have a substantial impact on the environment, because unless and until you don't control the air pollution, the citizens will suffer, and there are very few citizens who take up the fights with the power that be. So the government has to have some kind of a self mechanism, because MPCB has repeatedly failed to arrest any of the pollution in the city, because I remember having gone to the court in the year 2011, filing myself a public interest litigation for arrest of water pollution all over Maharashtra. There are 28 rivers in the state of Maharashtra which are highly polluted. They are glorified gutters now, majority of them,
Yes.
which are sitting in the city. Like Mumbai, we have 4. Similarly, Mula Mutha river in Pune.
It's a drain.
So, like Ullas River. These are all glorified gutters.
Yes.
The state is absolutely lethargic, not taking any action to contain sewages. Sir, I had sought information regarding the 7 sewage treatment plan which are to be proposed to be constructed within the municipal jurisdiction. The BMC curtly gave a reply saying the matter is sub judice before Supreme Court and therefore we cannot give you the information. This is the kind of our municipal corporation operates, trying to keep the information to itself. What we are
I
asking.
tell you what, Godfrey Saab, जो आपने अभी बताया with regard to an RMC plant, Pradeep ji had done that program right over here, right outside our office. If you go down the road, right outside our office, if you go down the road, there is an RMC plant right there, because the bullet train station is coming up there. So, the kind of construction activity that you see over there has to be seen to be believed.
Yes.
And the air is full of cement particles. The air is full of sand particles, silicon particles. The entire place is so full of construction that you cannot leave any of your windows open. We at least have the option of going home because we come here to work. The people who are living here have nowhere to go. So as a result of this, as what Pradeep ji was telling you, they have shuttered down their windows. There are wooden boards that they have hammered into their windows कि वो cement अंदर ना आए घर में. But as a result of which, what has happened is even the sunlight is not coming in. Now that is imprisoning people. Pradeep ji, कितने लोग रहते होंगे वहाँ पे?
I mean, you got a huge colony out there.
जी.
सारे.
जी, एक बार दोबारा नाम बताइए सर, कॉलोनी का नाम
मोतीलाल नेहरू नगर.
मोतीलाल नेहरू नगर, यहाँ कुरला में सर, बीकेसी में.
BKC
कुरला.
सारे buildings पूरे huge amounts of सारे buildings out there.
और गॉडफ्रे साहब, वहाँ से अगर आप 10 मीटर आगे चलेंगे, that is where the RMC plant is. Now, what is going on here? And no planting of trees, nothing. All the trees that were there have already been chopped off.
Sir, there is a solution to this. Firstly, to operate any RMC plant, there are 2 permissions which are required: consent to erect and consent to operate. There are 2 permissions which are granted by Maharashtra Pollution Control Board. Now, consent to establish, sorry, not erect, consent to establish permission, they have to see whether it complies with the sitting criteria. If not, the residents, local residents can file a RTI with MPCB and find out the information whether the proper permissions are in place or not. If the permissions are not in place, they can hold up. You can approach the High Court. In fact, without going to the High Court, sir, in my last, I think so, 5 years, I must have stopped at least 3 plant in Malavani side. But again, they have restarted maybe. But we were managed to close down 3 RMC plant there. I managed to close down 1 in RML colony.
जी मैं समझ गया सर, लेकिन यहाँ पर गॉडफ्रे साहब, I would like you to give us an answer to this, which I have never been able to figure out. Neither is Pradeep ji. Perhaps you can give us an answer. All these people who sanction these plants, who allow these RMC plants to work in the way they are working, and they pollute the atmosphere, give all sorts of lung ailments and diseases to the people all around. People start to suffer from things like emphysema, deterioration of the lungs, diseases of the liver, diseases of the kidney, and so on and so forth, and they die horrible deaths. Don't these people have a conscience?
Sir, apart from...
Don't they live here? Don't they also live in this city like all of us? Please, Dr. Rizal.
Sir, firstly, I think so, all these people, they operate on a different principle. It is always give and take policy, which is in place, that everyone knows how the majority of the corrupt officials operate. If you want to teach them a lesson, sir, under section 166 of the Indian Penal Code, a public officer who disobeys the law is liable for punishment. Now, there is also provision in the Environment Protection Act, section 50, that it is a criminal offence. You can file a case in the magistrate court and haul up all these officers, concerned official, including the RMC plant operator.
Gee.
But people rarely know these provisions are there in the books, and if they file at the appropriate magistrate level, I am sure all the things will come, they will have to observe the environmental norms.
So we got a problem, and we just want to follow up with what things happened in the 886 crore bridge of Gorai over the Manori Creek, the Roro Jetty, the ropeway. What is the status, Godfrey ji? Because you have been continuously fighting for their rights. You got huge investments coming out in Gorai, Manori Gorai belt, which the people are opposing. Any news about what is the latest status? The people were scared that the road widening will affect the entire village. After you got 3 villages out there, 3 Gautans, Manori, Pulvam, Uttan. That's what you told last time. Are they still protected?
Sir, in order to take this fight at the appropriate level, recently we have registered an organization called Gorai Villages Residents Welfare Association. I was instrumental in helping them to get it registered with the Charity Commissioner. We have recently got the registration number. Last week only, I think so, we had the occasion to inaugurate the office of the association in Gorai. It was largely attended by majority of the villagers, and I think so now they have taken the fight to the next level. Now, having guided them, the villagers are themselves become active and have been started corresponding with the concerned authorities. It is like it was not happening earlier, but now they are united. It is a single body, and I think so in coming days the things will change. Now, one such example of their spirited fight was that the pond in Pulvam,
yes,
was tried to be beautified. The work has come to standstill, and I believe that if the villagers are united, they can achieve wonders. And our prayers and our support is always with them. For the right cause, we are there.
So what happens to the development plans of the Roro Jetty, ropeway, all these kinds of things that were going to affect the virgin territory of Gorai? You were going to harm the entire village sanctity of Gorai, which you wanted to protect. You said that some places in Kerala, they have protected the entire village as it is, in spite of development. And you quoted some places in China too, where they have done it. So, do you think this Roro Jetty and ropeway and all have come to a standstill, Godfrey ji?
The kind of information is now floating around the certain projects which the BMC has announced will certainly come under scrutiny, because the people who have been awarded the contracts will come under scrutiny, the way the contracts have been awarded. And the BMC has today, the municipal commissioner has no control over him. Projects have been sanctioned left, right and center without justifying the what you call the kind of expenditure on these mega projects. There is I can just give you an example. The Daisar Bhinder, what you call connector, is 3 times more than the bridge which was constructed on the Vesava bridge on the Vasai Creek. So this kind of expenditure, I think so, will come under scrutiny of the CAG, that is Comptroller Auditor General of India, maybe at the appropriate time. So the things are being watched. They cannot escape the public scrutiny. We are keeping a watch on this expenditure. Today, I'll tell you, sir, in RML colony, the basic road, there is, I will share the photographs which I have received. the entire person the bus cannot travel on that road. That is the condition. Today you are spending thousands and thousands of crore and splurging the taxpayers' money, but you cannot provide a basic motorable road. Shame on this corporation and shame on the municipal commissioner.
No, we were concerned last time we were talking to you about the entire Manori. Now you talked about Manori Vasai mangrove sites. Manori Vasai mangrove sites, the mangrove parks that are absolutely ecological sensitive to the entire Mumbai and to that particular areas also. Godfrey, what are the status of them? Have they been destroyed or are they preserved, destroyed?
There are two mangrove parks which have been, sanctioned. One is on the Gorai side, one is on the Daisar side. Now, why have two mangrove parks in the same vicinity when you could have provided one such park in the eastern suburbs? Because eastern suburb has got the large concentration of mangroves as compared to the western suburbs. But these are all, planning, blunders which the BMC always commits. And they want to concentrate all the kind of development in one corner of the, city, just to exploit, things, which is not in a larger public interest.
Right. But the only thing is that as far as these plants are concerned, coming back to the RNC plants, what do you expect will happen? What do you think is going to happen?
Sir, we will be filing the, application under the Right to Information Act.
Gee.
Because we mean business. Watchdog Foundation has always cornered the RMC, the MPCB officials. Last time I think so we took about more than 100 school children because they were facing a lot of issues, having a breathing problem. Their parents were facing problems. So ultimately we had no option but to take the school children and shame these officials that you are playing with the lives of the children. So we will ferret out the information under the Right to Information and expose this nexus between the corrupt officials of MPCB and RMC plant operators.
We wanted to also know that last time you talked about the Sanjay Gandhi Park, tunnel.
Yes.
Any news on the tunnel? The tunnel is fully operational or?
Is it about to be constructed? Because it has been sanctioned.
Now this tunnel also is a big scam, sir, because ultimately the cost of construction of almost 13,000 odd crore is not a small figure.
Gee.
We are monitoring that. Maybe at the appropriate time we'll reveal as to how the project cost has been inflated, and this is nothing but milking the BMC has become a milking cow. And on one hand, you are saying that we want to increase the taxes, property taxes, but there is no control on your fiscal management. So totally mismanagement.
And in any event, it's going to destroy the national park.
Yes.
That is my basic thing because
it's the only national park within the city limits anywhere in the world.
That's right. And it's going to be destroyed.
Habitat for the what you call leopards there.
Yes.
So many number of leopards are found and you are trying to destroy, and as a result the leopards are bound to now lurk in the neighboring areas. As it is, we are having these issues in the leopards moving from the core territory of Sanjay Gandhi National Park and entering the residential areas. Now if you have more this kind of disturbing noise pollution within the core of the national park, it is going to destroy them. Sir, it is a criminal offence under section 29 of the Wildlife Protection Act to destroy the natural habitat of wild animals. I don't know how these people are getting the permissions to destroy the natural habitat.
But they've got the permission. That's the whole point.
Ostensibly.
Yes, so they say.
Yes.
And they've got the permission for a tunnel to go right through the Borivali National Park, which I think is not just criminal, it's anti-national, it's horrible, very frankly. I mean, you've got over 2,400 varieties of animals in that national park. What are we doing? What are we doing? I mean, I don't know what to say.
So I want to know, what happened to the leopards out in Gorai Manori villages also? There were leopard attacks, and you had taken up this issue with the forest officials, various officials, and they were talk about installing CCTV cameras out there, putting bait for them.
The cameras have been laid in Gorai Uttan region, but they have been laid in such an area where no animals are sighted. So again, this is what you call, occasionally the villagers are still sighting this animal, and they fear walking in this area after the dawn.
So and then none of the problems are solved, Godfrey ji. Jo bhi aapne uthaya, it's all just on the way. Nothing is really concretization. You talked about concretization of roads. In RA, the trees being cut, you said 2,198 trees are being cut. We talked about 7 STV plants, and you talk about desalination plant in Gorai. Anything about desalination plants of Gorai?
So desalination plant, I think so. I do not know. The media report says it is on hold, but the water is the requirement. Unless, because today the BMC has announced 5% water cut, and the situation is not encouraging in near future also. So the BMC has to take some steps to augment the water supply, because you must have heard about the Bangalore taps going dry now.
Yes, they are.
Shortage. And if the BMC also does not take into account the future requirements, I think the city will also go the Bangalore way.
Yes.
Now there are various reasons, sir, because there is a unprecedented level of the construction happening, more taller buildings coming up, more and more people are getting accommodated in the city limits. Earlier it was 1.5 crore, today it has reached to about almost 2 crore, and by another 10 years it may go to about 2.5 or 3 crores also.
Yeah, that's too long a period, sir. I think it will go to 2.5 crores in the next 2 years.
Yes, so if that is the kind of population explosion, she has to have some backup plan to augment the water supply. Today there are only 7 dams which are supplying the drinking water supply, but again that is not matching the requirements. So there has to be some alternate arrangements done. Desalination plant is there, but that has to be had an appropriate level, because you can have that at the eastern suburbs, sir, because there is not much fishing activity happening in Thane Creek over there. So you could have set up the desalination plant there. You can use the sea water, I think so. That will be not affect the much of the what you call.
Yeah. And there it is. That, by the way, is the program that Pradeep ji had done right over here next to our office. Can we have that, please? Can we take a look at that? That is the Motilal Nehru Nagar, and look at that. Godfrey sir, right here, right next to our office. There. Look at that. Look at those residential buildings right behind that ready mix plant.
This is a, sir, this is a clear-cut violation of the sitting criteria.
Yes.
So Watchdog trustee also, Nicholas Almeida, is there.
Yes, Mr. Almeida was there. Yes.
So I would suggest that if you can organize such programs, sir, in front of the MPCB gate, we are willing to come there and question the officials, because we can show them the the gazette notification which gives the sitting criteria, whether all these criteria are met, whether it is infrastructural project or any other project. You cannot flout the environmental norms.
And people here are suffering from all sorts of breathing diseases, all sorts of respiratory diseases, and it's a horrid situation. Kids have not seen the sunlight for years in their house. Come on, what is going on here? This is absolutely terrible. This is awful. Right, Godfrey Saab, thank you very much for joining us. Great pleasure as always talking to you, even though what you have to say is usually very disturbing. But I feel very proud of the fact that we have people like you here who are fighting for the rights of not just Mumbaikars, of all Indians. We have the right to clean air, to clean water, and to a clean environment. And Godfrey Saab is one of the warriors, is one of the soldiers in that fight. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank
Namaskar.
you. Namaskar.
There is a lovely program, by the way, Pradeep. That was a wonderful program.
Yes,
I wish.
the forum, we didn't know what now is good that the MPCB probably tomorrow will dash off a letter to the,
Yes.
on Monday we'll dash off a letter to the MPCB.
That's right. And you know, the fact is, what happens is, अब यहाँ पर क्या problem क्या है कि क्योंकि you know, some bureaucrat sanctions it. आपने sanction कर दिया साहब. अब लोग किसको blame कर रहे हैं? लोग सरकार को blame कर रहे हैं. अब सरकार कौन? सरकार मतलब पॉलिटिशियन, सरकार मतलब एकनाथ शिंदे, सरकार मतलब देवेंद्र फडणवीस. अरे देवेंद्र फडणवीस को मालूम है क्या कि किस तरीके से ये सैंक्शन हुआ? मतलब this is like awful. I think they must really come down very hard on all the bureaucrats who are flouting the instructions from the political leadership. मुझको ऐसा लगता है.